Right. So if you remember correctly, when we did the view for this, the UI, we basically built a list view or a recycler view, and we would like to now get ready to display our stuff, but we are displaying them each in a little item here, and we need to go and work with an adapter. I just forgot one little thing in the item. So remember, for each little item here, we build our custom UI that we would like to show for those items. And we currently have an image, the temperature, and we have a description here, but I forgot that we actually also need to have the date. So we're just going to go add another text view, because, you know, my brain doesn't always work. And we're just going to take this guy, press Ctrl and D to duplicate them. And we're just going to call it 5-day date. And the rest should be fine. And we have the option to, at the top here, add the city name. But in the previous guy, it gave me a lot of problems. So we'll try to, on top of the card view, add the city name. And we will see if it will actually pull through for us. And we will just call this 5-day city. Just so, okay, that's gone now. So now we have it like this. It will display our city at the top for each little list view item. Oh no, it won't. This is in the wrong place. I need to go remove this. No, that's fine. It will display our city at the top, and it will give a picture of the weather, and the date, as well as the description. And I am correct. The city shouldn't actually be here. We shouldn't city here. Let's cut them out. And let's go stick city here. So we only, we did it. Okay, I take it all back. We're fine. We actually do have the city at the top there. So clearly my brain is broken. So let's go build that adapter. But before we can do that, we need to talk a little bit about recycler views and recycler views adapters. So we're going to come up here. We're going to look for a recycler view. And we want to look at the Android docs for that. I'm just going to give it a second to load. So they tell you need to create a recycler view if your app needs to display a scrolling list of elements based on large data sets or data that frequently changes. You should use the recycler view as described on this page. So we have I don't know if we'd say a large data set, but this data will change hourly. Okay. All right. So let's just look at the rest that we've got there. If you'd like to create a list with cards, okay, we know all about that. So they're going to tell you here the recycler view widget is a more advanced and flexible version of the list view. In the recycler view model, several different components work together to display your data. The overall container for your user interface is a recycler view object that you add to your layout. The recycler view fills itself with views provided by a layout manager that you provide. You can use one of our standard layout managers, and we know this, and they're ugly, or implement your own. Okay. The views in the list are represented by view holder objects. And you're going to see this when we start calling up the adapter. Okay. These objects are instances of a class you define by extending recycler view.viewHolder. Each shows there's a class called viewHolder that holds this little guy for us. So we have to create an adapter that we will use to create us a view holder and something called onBind. Okay, so the view holder, let me just find it because I've lost it. The view holder objects are managed by an adapter, which we are going to go and build. which you can create by extending the recyclerview.adapter class. And we're going to go do that now. And you can actually make this class type safe. So we can say that it must work with the forecast results class. Okay, the adapter creates view holders as needed. Okay, so we need something to hold this little view in the memory. Let me just find it. A pretty one. To hold, oh, where's my brain? We need something to hold this little view in the memory, and that's the view holder. And it will hold this little view, and you guys will see when we code it, we actually call this view in. And then on bind view holder, when the view holder is binded, every time we want to stick a little guy in, so when the view holder is binded, every time we have a new item, it will bind the view holder, and we will then say what we want to actually happen to the items in the view holder. Okay, and you guys will see that we actually in the adapter call in the entire view holder class and work with it. Okay, so the adapter also binds the view holders to their data. It does this by assigning the view holder to a position and calling the adapter's onBind view holder method. That method uses the view holder's position to determine what content should be based on this list position. So what that is in plain English is we have a view holder that tells us that we have a tiny little view here that we have created that we want to populate each of these items according to what is in our list here. And in our list will be all of this data. So we have a list full of this data, and we have a view holder that says for each iteration of that list, we need to add this view here. So we need to know the size of that list, so we get a position, and it goes for the first iteration at position here 0, populate these little tick boxes here with the position at 0. Wait, here. Okay, so if I take this and I go stick that in a JSON formatter. You guys will see that we are going to say that we have several iterations of this. We actually have 5. One, two, three. Okay, we have lots. Okay, but don't worry. So basically what we are saying here is we have this list. It has all of this stuff in it. We'd like it to display pretty like this. So we need something to hold this little view in the memory. That's your view holder. And for each iteration of this, we want you to take the temperature and stick it in our temperature box. Okay, we'd like you to find the description, which is somewhere here. And we would like you to add that to our description. We'd also like you to find the date, which is so clearly illustrated here as DT. Let me just find it. We'd also like you to find the date. And this date is ugly. We have a converter for that, if you remember. We'd like you to find the date and add it to the date box. And we will convert that to a proper date because this is what you're seeing at the moment. And we'd like you to do that for each thing, each little one of these objects, the size of the list. And you will see us implement all of that as we go now. The reason that you see city is separate, you also see that just now. So we'd like that done for each of these. Okay. All right. So I wonder if we collapse this. Okay. And there is our city value. All right. So we better go add the code for this. We better go create that adapter. It's just important that you understand how this adapter works, because when we start adding the view holder and all of these things, you can get quite confused. So I'm going to keep referring back to this JSON and back to the code so you can see what we are doing. Now let's go add that adapter. So we've made a package for adapter. It's just a way to keep your stuff neat and tidy. And inside there, we have our view page adapter at present. Right click on here, say new Java class. And I'm going to add a forecast adapter. It's just a normal class, add it. The minute we get this forecast adapter class in, we're going to go do what this says. It tells us the view holder objects are managed by an adapter, which you create by extending recyclerview.adapter. So we better go do that. So we go and we say recyclerview.adapter. And right there, it tells you that it's expecting a view holder. Do you see this? Interesting, isn't it? And we're going to go do this. We are going to say that it will be forecast adapter dot my view holder. And we currently don't have this. This is a class that we need to implement. Okay. So don't worry too much about this. You can just because you will see that we will just go right here and say that we would like a public class my view holder extends recyclerview.view holder. It's going to want us to implement some stuff and create constructor matching super. There we go. Okay, why is it still unhappy? Oh, don't worry, we're getting to that. Okay, so there is the view holder class. So you will look here and you will see that it tells you the recycler view widget. Oops. The views and the lists are presented by view holder objects. These objects are instances of a class you define by extending recyclerview.viewholder. So you will see that we have, oops, wrong app. We have done recyclerview.viewholder and we've added the constructor. Then if we read down a little bit more, these objects are managed by an adapter, which you create by extending recyclerview.adapter. The adapter creates the view holders as needed. Okay. So we have our adapter at the top here. It's a little bit unhappy. We're going to make it happy now by saying implement methods. And you guys see there they are on create view holder, where it creates the view holder for us, on bind view holder and get item count. So if we look here, we will see that we need on bind view holder, we need the item count for the positions. We're going to come back and read the rest here. Okay, so now we have everything we need. So if we go here and we go say, okay, we should have a fairly happy class by now. Okay, but now we have, and I know what it's unhappy about it, but something else. Okay, now we have a view holder class at the bottom, where we will tell everything we want to happen to our text boxes. And we call it by the adapter on here. We bind those views at the correct item. So we just need something else here. This is Android, so it will want a context. Always. And we also have to give it an instance of the forecast result cast because we're going to be working with it. Okay, now we need to add a constructor because when we implement this adapter, we want it to give a context and an instance of this class. So we're going to say alt and insert, and we're going to say constructor, and we're going to add these guys in. And there is our constructor. Okay, so let's just go look at something here. The view holder objects are managed by an adapter, which you create by extending the recyclerView.adapter class. The adapter creates view holders as needed. The adapter also binds the view holders to their data. Okay, so it will make view holders as we need it. It will bind it to our data. Our data currently sits here, and we will return it as a list. Okay, that method uses the view's holder position to determine what content should be in there. Okay, so it's going to tell you when the list is first populated, it creates and binds some view holders on either side of the list. For example, if the view is displaying list positions 0 through 9, the recycler view creates and binds those view holders and might also create and bind view holders for position 10. That way, if the user scrolls the list, the next element is ready to display. So we're going to pass this a size with position, and it's going to create view holders for us. And as the user scrolls, it makes new view holders as we need it, and it will create a view holder for each instance. What happened to my Java? What if we broke it? For each instance of these. Okay, and once it has created that view holder, it will create an extra one just in case we need them. Okay, all right. And it even allows the user to switch direction. It allows it to scroll back up and back down. Okay. But here's something else. On the other hand, if the user keeps scrolling in the same directions, the view holders which have been off screen the longest can be rebound to new data. And that's what your list view hasn't done. So as we scroll through the recycler view, each view holder that's been out of view for a long time is recycled. And that is why this uses less memory. And I hope you guys now understand how this adapter works. But in the next video, we're going to add the code, and I think it will make a bit more sense then.